minutes, but I have made a note here to go back and determine exactly what minutes we still have to approve. I didn't really take any at the last one, except for I was just kind of taking notes on what we were doing so I can submit those as minutes.
That'd be great.
Okay, and it probably looks like I should do it again today. Public comment?
The community meeting was awesome.
What's that?
Sorry.
Just here to listen, y'all.
All right.
The community meeting was overwhelmingly successful, I think.
Was it? Good.
Well, we're gonna talk about it.
Oh, good, good, because I couldn't make it.
Public meeting review and debrief.
Good.
Great, yeah, well, a couple of things on the agenda today. We wanted just to do a little debrief on the public meeting, maybe start to draw out some common themes that people had from some takeaways from that meeting. We did print off, so we've actually transcribed all of the posters.
Oh, really?
With the Post-it notes and the meeting minutes in the small group discussions that got handed back to us and a bunch of other stuff. So we are actually in the process of pulling together a bit more of a report, a summary report, just to publish on the website and everything. But we wanted to spend some time today talking about that. And then we're going to talk about the vision statement, which is a requirement of the comprehensive plan. And then we're going to talk about our 2026 outlook. What are we going to be doing for 2026? Where do we go from here? And basically starting off that the January meeting is actually January 1st. So you guys can meet. Suzanne and I won't be here that day. So
I won't be here.
To throw that out
flying back.
So that's what we're going to cover tonight. So why don't we get right into it? What Suzanne just passed around is basically these are all of the sticky note comments. And this isn't by way of having you guys have to look through all of it tonight or make any thoughts on it. But I think it would be interesting to just sort of write down, overall thoughts, first question. And then secondly, what did we take away from that?
And we can talk sort of broadly too about, what did people find was successful at the meeting. Do you want me to say the other questions we had talked about as well?
Yeah. Sure.
Did you hear anything that surprised you? Was there anything surprising or unexpected?
To me, there wasn't anything surprising or unexpected. What I did really enjoy when walking around was listening to the dialogue and the various ways the different tables were coming at pretty much the same topics or the same themes. It was very interesting, and I thought we had a great representation of great demographic representation there. And it was, to me, really exciting, having been so involved in town for so long, to see lots of new faces.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was personally really excited that the childcare worked out.
Yes.
That made it so good.
How many kids did you have?
I think we had
You guys can
12.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, and I was nervous that some people might show up who didn't RSVP, which ultimately would have been fine and we would have figured it out. But I brought my 11-year-old daughter who was like, I want to babysit, and she must have just played. But,
That's
just
the point. But that's what
will
they
we
like,
have
yeah.
enough, childcare. I think it was really that.
Yeah, I think that was
That
key.
component, I think, really enabled people to be there that might not normally.
I would say the way you spaced the tables,
Okay.
there was plenty of room, especially when we attended the school thing. And they were so close, you couldn't hear anything. And it just, it really, I thought it was just really exciting. And people were just talking and listening to each other. And so I thought it was really positive. And I think just having the kids in the background made...
Knowing what you're there for in a way, and for them.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I love speaking of school. We were gone, but I like seeing everything about the school because I'm a huge supporter, especially after COVID and 2 kids at home during school. I'm trying to teach whatever, but I do love this school here. It's actually was the reason we built in the town of Mount Desert. I like seeing the school. And the high school, I'm sure, is under that umbrella, but.
So, Kathy and Tracy, just, we're debriefing the public meeting. Then, I don't know exactly what that is, Alan, but then we're gonna talk about the vision statement, then we're gonna talk about the work plan for 2026.
Okay.
Okay? And by the way, we are actually on track with where we said we were gonna be when we first started off. So,
Which is exciting.
except for not having a final product for 2026 town meeting, which is also fine.
And one of the things I understand about the vision statement is there isn't one in the 2009, so this is a
Yeah, we can
start
talk about that.
new, yeah,
There is no
okay.
vision statement, yeah. So the question that we asked was, the question we started on for this discussion was there anything that surprised you from the discussions at the public meeting? And so far, the answer is not really.
I was a little surprised. Like, people got very granular with what they wanted. Like, had some wish list items, which is not what the meeting was about.
Yep.
I think going forward, we really need to put the guardrails on. The dog park is not part of the.
It comes up all the time.
It comes up all the time, and they can go build their own dog park. But it's not part of the plan. So it's just like our guidance. Like, I definitely stepped in at the table. I was hovering around and just, okay, what can you change it? You know, is that something in the purview of the town? And that got them back on looking at things that they were capable of influencing. And I think that's something that people, I mean, it's a small town. We have all our own little pet projects and interests. And this is a big picture project.
Sure.
One of the maps said a pub in every village, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a similar
Yeah.
comment,
Yeah.
but we are very accustomed to that type of things being brought up, and kind of feel like it's okay as long as it's not like entirely
Right.
those comments. But what I interpret it as is like people want more like points of connection or places to connect with other people.
Closer to their own home.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would sort of, when you're in, so even in this group, I think we're going to be challenged to try to, depending on what topic we're thinking about, to stay at a certain level versus like trying to go right to the solution for the specific problem that we're talking about, when really we're, you know, depending on where we are in the process. But what you can draw from that conversation is something, and,
Right.
you know, like, great, and so, and also like park the idea, hey, dog parks was important to this group, maybe there's a theme here that we need to think about, bigger picture, and then is there something that we need to recommend in the ordinances, you know, as a revision to the ordinance structure that allows for that, or was it such a topic that everybody talked about that the town currently isn't doing, that we might want to put some suggestions in as an action that supports whatever kind of goal that we come up with. So it's good to like draw them back to the bigger question, and then also keep that in your mind. Like, oh yeah, I remember when we were, you know, when they were talking, when the public was talking about this thing, and everybody was like real keyed in on it. Well, what does that actually mean for us?
Yeah, I was wondering if it's a strategy, if you just let people talk and
Yep.
then you extract the
Yes.
information from them instead of trying to
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
herd them into talking about
Yeah.
a topic that
Yeah. So sometimes like we'll let them, you know, even in a situation like this, it happens all the time. Like you let the conversation go for a little while, even though it's like digressed into something that isn't exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. Then you use that information to kind of pull it back to the higher level to get to what we need. So
We joke too, like you always hear like there needs to be a stop sign at this one corner. Like it's like we hear in a lot of meetings, and like it's so specific, but then it's like this bigger picture around like feeling safe and feeling like you can walk or whatever. The investment in like physical safety.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've sort of debriefed on this a little bit too, but like one of the challenges of a meeting like that is that it's a short period of time that you're really trying to tackle like a lot of different things, all of this, you know, in, you know, pretty fast sequence. So you don't have a ton of time to really like dive into one topic where you have like questions that are really targeted toward one thing that get you to the idea of where you want to have a dog park, for example. So the challenge is like, we just have to let it go a little bit. And you guys we didn't like sit down and do like a facilitator training with everybody and say, okay, you're going to be facilitators at this group, at this table, here's what you need to do. But sometimes in that chaos, it's actually kind of interesting just to like hear what happens.
Yeah, and I'll say too, like those opportunities to make those types of comments sometimes like get somebody hooked on the process and like, oh, that was really fun and I got to say my thing about the dog park and like I want to learn more about this process and better understand that like maybe it's not like a dog park study, but there might be a way to get that eventually or something.
Right now, I can't wait to find pictures of dogs that we have to put in the plan.
Yeah. I'm sure we can find those.
The long pond.
That's what the
Dog park, isn't it?
That's what the complaints were about.
Yeah.
The privately owned facilities that require a leash.
Now has a leash law.
Well, that's, yeah.
Well, what kinds of things? I mean, I know we've had the survey out and we've talked about a few things, but what kinds of common things did you guys pull from that meeting?
I think that the list of Post-it note comments
Yep.
might have been different than the conversations at the tables.
Yeah.
Because those are sort of focused and you're more careful about what you might be saying.
At
But
the table,
here, at a table, but you can put whatever you want on a Post-it.
And it's a little bit of
What's one word for the town? Bougie.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think we all know this. Housing is a recurring theme on every page.
Yep.
My table spoke a lot about what draws people to a town, and keep people in the town.
That's interesting.
What kinds of
That's a
things did you
positive
learn?
thing.
Well, they thought that they talked a whole lot about needing the people that do all the work to be in the town so that they can work and that their work will draw other people into the town. So they need a business or two or three where you can be employed to get sort of the ball rolling. And then that way other people will be interested in coming and living in the town.
Economic development.
Yeah.
And
It's a
then,
little chasing the tail issue.
Always.
Right?
Yes.
Do people talk about that with your
yes,
group? Yeah.
yes. And,
Eat.
places to eat.
Oh, okay.
Places to, so that the lights are on, especially in the wintertime. And
Which so many of us restaurants would love that, but it's so, you can't feed 3 people and
in 24 hours.
and have a full staff and pay the heat. I mean, I totally agree. We could be busier. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't obviously
you'd have
expect
to
to
have-
be summer, right? But
And-
something.
Yeah, and finding things that fit, like businesses that would work, where you'd have people. And I think, you guys did a lot. And the COA students, I mean, we had five of them came every Sunday to St. Mary's. It was wonderful. So you had that, you saw the potential, and then the key person graduated and left and went to Minnesota. How could she, right?
Yeah.
Are the COA students utilizing the Northeast Harbor campus?
Yeah, aren't they? Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
I've been told by COA students that they don't like it
Yeah.
because there's nothing to do.
Because there's nothing
They
to do.
want to be
Yeah.
where everybody else is.
Yeah, but they can get there. This group of 5, and they were like a band.
They have 19 apartments.
No, well, no,
15?
there's space for 15. They have 3 apartments built for students. Each of them can accommodate 5 students. And the college was thinking this past year that, and I don't know how they resolved it this year, that they might actually need it more for staff. than students.
Yeah, I can understand that,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So they, but then they might have to make some changes because it's like a dormitory. It's five small single spaces with a shared kitchen and a couple of bathrooms, et cetera. So,
So the point that we're at isn't necessarily to say, why isn't this thing working at COA specifically, but it is to learn a lesson. If we were to pull a lesson from that conversation, which is, hey, younger people want to, we want younger people to be here. I'm just paraphrasing what I'm hearing.
But they want activity.
However,
Yeah.
we recognize through these other experiences that the challenge is there needs to be more for them to do. And to sort of tie it into the conversation that you two were having about, hey, it would be great to have restaurants open, more restaurants open. And hey, it would be better to have more people here in order for the restaurants to be open, to make it worth your while.
Yeah.
What is the common theme there?
not enough people on a year-round
So how-
basis.
But also like, yes, not enough people. It's like, I know there's a chicken and
Chicken
egg
and
conversation,
egg, yeah.
but we have to like, that's what we're getting to.
Well, the nor'easter tried. I mean, and I don't know if that's why definitely they're not there in the winter now, but
Well, it's
No,
not
they
just
tried.
a
They
few.
said
Yeah,
they
I
would
was
do-
gonna
they
say,
said
yeah.
they would do
Few
5
It's-
years, and
Yeah.
and I mean,
it's hard.
they
I
were
mean,
losing money.
Yeah,
Right.
losing money.
And I think that's like the things that we're gonna be struggling with are recognizing the reality of economics for
Yes.
businesses, but recognizing the reality of what makes a good community. And then there's some challenges that need to be overcome in order for that to occur. And, what in the comprehensive plan context can the town actually do about it?
Yeah.
Right? And so when we get to the vision statement conversation, that conversation that you're gonna have about the vision statement, and we're not ready to move off the public meeting yet, but like, is the fundamental question that you need to ask yourself. Like that sets the table for the whole rest of the comprehensive plan. If you don't know where you wanna go, then you're not gonna go anywhere. Or whatever other planning thing you wanna come up with, but, so like, that's why it's really important to like, and we're gonna get into this, I'm sure, but like, we've gotta sort of, what we've done now is heard from the public about like, what makes the town so cool, and what are the things that we want to see in this town that we would even be more excited to be here. That's like the stuff we've learned through the survey and through the public meeting. Now, our job is to kind of filter that and come up with a vision for the community that we can then test the waters on at some point. And then through that, we're going to build on the existing comprehensive plan through, all the topic areas and whatnot. But like, that's like really a fundamental thing that's actually missing from your existing plan. And you have to do it, number one. And number two, like, there's no point to have a plan that you don't actually have a
vision.
consolidated vision around, because why are you having the plan to begin with? So put that aside for a second. Really good feedback on the public meeting. Anything else sort of jump out at you as common themes? So right now I have housing is a reoccurring theme. We need things that draw people to town. What else?
And I heard people liked, it's the free, like at Artemis. They have the gallery. They've done that space where it's very interesting, and that just draws a lot of people. And so, could this be more of an art, jewelry, whatever? Because and we don't need T-shirts and we don't need tiki-tacky, but we lost some of.
That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we lost.
Yeah.
Remember, with the fire, you lost a lot of the galleries.
Yes, I remember it very well. Yeah. Fortunately, yes. Yeah.
Two galleries.
Two galleries. Yeah.
But they were
Yeah.
big.
They were big.
And then that one gallery,
Wing spread.
right, left. But wasn't there was
The
one?
Joy Building
Yeah.
had,
Upstairs.
But somebody in the past year, he left, or 2 years ago, because I
It
could
was
be.
a something star.
For the star.
Oh,
Not
The
Yeah, that-
antique gallery. The
Or was it
antique
the
shop.
bronze sculpture?
Yes.
Oh, Christmas, yeah, he left a few
Yes,
years
So,
ago.
yes, yes.
and that brought in a lot of
Yeah.
people, and the rare book place. That was my
Yes.
brother's favorite place. I mean, you know, he was in there all the time.
I think you're right.
So-
What's interesting is those are unique places, and so
Right.
they
Yes.
are a draw.
And that's what we need.
But sometimes what I sort of think though is we don't need super high-end expensive things.
Yeah.
We need things that are affordable to many more people, whether it's food or clothing. And I'll tell you, one of the ideas that came out of our Zoom meetings during COVID about what kinds of businesses would you like to have here on Main Street? Two people from very different points of view both said, a great consignment store would be great, a used clothing.
Well, there's a woman that started one, but it was behind where the pine tree was. And I just happened to walk in and I said, oh my goodness. You know, she had silver and what?
Now gone off to Seal Harbor?
Yeah, now she's
It was
somewhere
too
else again.
expensive over here. She didn't like it.
Well, she couldn't get a draw. She couldn't get enough people. And, but she had all kinds of interesting things.
This Summers lady?
Yeah. But she was only there for part of the summer because it had so much mold and, you know, it just didn't work as,
It'll be interesting to see what goes in the home store, because that's such an
Oh, we were
anchor.
just, that's what Heather and I were just saying.
Is
We're
there-
like, is something going in the home store, hopefully, or possibly?
is there something?
Yes,
Good,
Good.
good.
About the hardware store.
and the hardware store as well.
But are we
Yeah.
gonna have another hardware? I've heard little bits of rumors, is another or possibly something hardware store, or
Well, let's, again,
if you need a like,
I'd like to
yeah,
know,
sorry,
do
yeah.
we have any data on where people came from? Like, I know there's a map.
we do have the map, and I have a picture of it. I'm not sure it made it into our folder yet.
I can look.
But it does show where basically we had people kind of concentrate on the village that you came from, and it was pretty well distributed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yep, there were a
Curious.
bunch of
There's a whole
people from
Otter
all
Creek
the
table.
villages,
Pretty marsh.
except for
It was, I think you pointed out to me, that's this
Seal
person.
Harbor
Yeah.
people. There
Or
was a
maybe it was
bunch of-
Seal Harbor.
Otter Creek was well represented. Northeast Harbor obviously well represented. I think the biggest one I saw that was at Void was Hall Quarry, actually.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was gone, but
Could be the whole.
I didn't have a sticker, so I didn't.
Oh,
put that. Well,
But
actually,
I know there were
could've
some
wanted
people
to.
there from
Whoops.
Hall Quarry. It was just
Could've
always
been.
interesting.
yeah.
So I went to 160 houses
Yeah.
in Otter Creek
Wow.
and Seal Harbor, and
Did
I left
you?
something. I either
Oh,
knocked
yeah.
on the door and talked to them, or left something on their
Wow,
door.
thank you for
oh
doing that.
wow,
You get a
And I-
great start.
I think
Yeah.
we got. I may have gotten 12 people to show up, but some of those were going to come anyway. So maybe, you know, it's. I don't know. It's a lot of effort
yeah.
for a turnout of like 5%.
Did you have good conversations for
I
those?
did have great conversations.
And was it anything different than the meeting, the public meeting?
Not particularly. I mean, I was trying to just inform them what
What
this
was going
meeting
on.
was, and you know why it was important to show up. And like, wow, that is really important, and I'm not going to show up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's okay
Is
though.
that what they said?
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's okay.
they're like, well, there's
Because-
football on later, so
Right.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, they'll have another opportunity to read it in the
And I think
paper.
that's okay. And I think you'll find that once we really start writing the goals and action items, that is, people really react to that
Mm.
because they either really like it or they really don't,
Mhm.
and they want to come out and talk about that. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and I would also kind of flip the script too and say, like, whatever happened, like that, we've done a bunch of public meetings around these parts, and that was one of the best, if not the best turnout
Oh, good.
that we've been a part of.
So I think your effort is
So it was
like
good.
Yeah.
it was successful.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought there were, for demographically, for where we are as a community, it was a pretty good mix of people.
Good age range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised that there were as many younger people there as possible. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it had to do with
Daycare,
the
yeah.
daycare part.
100% has to do with that.
Yeah, it was such a good, it was a
And
good.
you know what? I got they did an email from it was the neighborhood house. They did an email flash to every parent.
Oh, good.
And because I said, we need these kids. And I went to the daycare and the nursery school and, you know, knocked on the door. And so she said she was going to just circulate it. She
That's
said,
great.
so, you know, I
I think
just
the
felt,
principal sent it out too.
yeah. And the other thing I did was at SR Tracy. at first the person was just kind of, blow me off. And then all of a sudden there must have been something, and I don't remember what I said, but triggered something. And she said, oh, I'm going to post this and have extra copies made when they punch in, they'll see it. So I just went, now that is really clever. So, so it was well worth me. I kind of did the same thing. You're thinking, when am I going to actually see anybody? But it paid off. It did pay off.
Well, it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, the meeting was well received, from what we can appreciate. We did get at least one comment. I've gotten one comment that just wanted to make sure that some of the report outs, at least at one table, was more the notes that the person who reported out was saying versus like other conversations that were going on. So those things we're going to record because this person sent me some other comments as well. And I think that's a function of the fact that we had the way that we did the workshop. Again, it wasn't like let's pick a facilitator who's actually, and a note taker who's specifically going to do it. And we sort of like kind of quick hit it. And that's okay. That was the way that we set it up. And it sounds like nothing was a surprise based on what we've been out and hearing already. So that's good. And a couple of the common themes that you guys are mentioning are housing, obviously. We need to do things that draw people to town. We need to start thinking about year-round businesses in different economic sectors, perhaps, is what I wrote down with your arts comment. Sort of building on stuff that you guys have already been thinking about at MB365 as well. A couple of things that I think about, obviously, like the natural environment is something that was really important to everybody, at least on the sticky notes. Year-round community and finding amenities for a year-round community seems to be a pretty common theme.
No, with the sticky notes, what is Main Street shops being replaced by short-term rentals? Do we have that many
What was the question?
shops? This was a Post-it.
Yeah.
No, I
What
don't.
was the question at the top of
It's
the?
Oh, it's
on
the
page.
comments about,
It's on the page before. This is like
oh, that's the overflow.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
this one is
Oh,
biggest
that's the big
stretching
challenge.
challenges.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges that person is
Yeah.
recognizing, I think the question is, what
On
are some
Main
of the
Street?
biggest challenges? I think
That's happening in Soamesville.
they are concerned.
Oh, is that, so, because I'm thinking.
The old Higgins store is now short-term rental.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
But I would-
Okay.
Also say, Stephanie, like,
My husband might have written that.
our
Okay.
job
Yeah.
isn't necessarily to
Right.
question, like,
No.
specifically, like, that's not true
Yeah.
what that person
No, I was
said.
just
It's basically
curious
like,
what, okay.
That's a concern.
Yes, okay.
One of the things that did surprise me was the number of tables that talked about bicycles and bicycle
Yes.
lanes.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Making it easier to ride bicycles around here.
That was big all summer. A lot of kids on bikes that weren't paying attention and no helmet. There was a lot of that this year. A lot of people talking about it. Yeah.
But also just the accessibility of having space along major
Yeah,
roads. So you
how else
can
are they
ride.
supposed to get from A to B to get to
get to
camp,
work, to
up
do
to
something,
school,
yeah.
down to something? Yeah.
Or people who want to commute to their job
Yeah.
like from
Yeah.
X village to Y village too, yeah.
A bike lane over. Yeah.
Speaking of villages, I think villages was a pretty common theme. Like everybody is very proud of the village that they live in, and it seems like one of the characters that we have to continue to foster as a community. That we are one island, but we're also one town, but we're also several villages. So then we have to
6 to
figure
8,
out-
depending on how you
figure out
count.
what that is. And do we need to get into that conversation in the comment? That's another thing. Yeah.
So every table also mentioned zoning. Everybody seemed to notice that was a hurdle.
Yep.
Which is good, because then we can change zoning, because people know it's a problem.
Well, we need to educate people more about what the zoning actually does. But,
Yeah.
yep, I actually wrote that down. Adopting zoning and policy to enable the things that we're talking about.
Sitting zone.
So definitely Otter Creek, everybody I talked to in Otter Creek
Yep.
was ready to rezone the entire town commercial industrial,
Yeah.
because they are limited to doing nothing.
Right.
Like, you
Yeah.
just can't do anything.
Which again, not necessarily true, but
Almost.
things that there's a perception that either needs to get rectified, there's a communication there, and I would love to introduce the concept of doing some village plans to this process a little bit, because Otter Creek is like a prime example of one. Soamesville is another. Soamesville is a really interesting one. Seal Harbor, like to do some more village-specific planning would be really good, because there's, as you know, the zoning is consistent throughout the town, but that doesn't always make for the best result. But then the challenge is, let's not create a situation where you have so many unique zoning attributes that it just becomes unbearable.
Right. So like Bar Harbor, I think, has 28 zones, but they did it by geographic village. So there's the biomedical research zone around the Jackson Lab.
Yep.
And then you go across the street, and now it's rural residential shorefront, and like each.
Yep.
You
can see how it got to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because everybody needed their own little carve out.
Yep.
So
that we sort of struggle with this in other contexts as well, but like that's the slippery slope, right? You want to make it like
that's not a best
Seal Harbor
practice.
Village is its own thing.
Right.
It shouldn't be. It's not going to be necessarily the same as like Northeast Harbor.
Right.
And if you want to have a pub in every village, you got to have commercial downtown, right?
Yeah.
And we lose that. I mean, that is something that has happened in Soamesville. So I believe Pat Foster keeps her business going because she wants to make sure that it is commercial. Because if she stops using it, like Higgins Market, you can't come back. It's sort of grandfathered in.
Right, Pectic Seafood and Whole Court.
Yes. Yeah.
They should never have moved.
Right.
Exactly. I was just gonna say.
Just the worst.
I know. Who knew?
Let's transition into, unless you had something you wanted to add, but
No, I think you were sort of saying it about that zoning. I was just thinking you don't want to get into different village zones, because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you've created a whole different problem.
yeah, I think that's this slippery. So we're not necessarily going to get into that level of detail in this process, but it would be interesting to think about it at a high level through the future land use process. And the slippery slope is, I mean, even Bar Harbor would acknowledge like their zoning is way too complex, and they're starting to eliminate zones because there's reasons to do that. But then there's reasons to be more specific to different areas if we're trying to like create some ability to do things in different areas that are more appropriate for those areas. So Otter Creek, for example. Yeah.
I was just happy to see that people realized that zoning was the problem, and that adding more zoning restrictions probably wasn't the solution. It's like, well, maybe we should back off, which Bar Harbor went the other way and said, let's specialize it to this zone, and maybe we need to back off and generalize.
We should definitely have discussions about that. Sometimes being more general creates more problems. But I believe that there is a balance somewhere. Anyway, let's talk about vision. So, in the comprehensive plan, you are required to have a vision statement, and I think I've already given you my spiel on vision. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Suzanne, to that, but like, again, it's really important. Next step in this process is to create the vision statement, because that is the mechanism by which we're going to then, take a look at all of the existing goals and strategies that we're going to look at in this plan, and there isn't one in your current plan. So I don't
Now, why is that?
I don't know why.
It might not
I
have been
thought they had
required.
to have it.
I did too.
Oh,
I was actually surprised because
Yeah.
I was actually, as we were planning for this meeting, I went in to like clip it out and send it to everybody. It said, in preparation for our meeting, don't forget to read the vision statement. And it's not there.
So can you
I couldn't find it.
give,
I actually did a word search for it.
can you give a, I don't know, overview of what, 3-4 components that should be a part of the vision
Yes.
plan? I don't necessarily want you to give some of the other towns you've worked with, because you don't, but
Right.
I think if we can get a little bit of, for me, can get a little
Or the
understanding.
length as well. It's like, are we talking about pages, paragraphs? Are we talking about a sentence?
3 sentences or?
It can really vary, and there's no exact formula. We did bring examples from other communities we've worked with, and can talk about how the process of communities. But I think sometimes this part of the process people can get really annoyed by because it feels too like almost like saccharine or false or something, because it's really meant to be aspirational, right? You're like, this is what when we envision the town in 10 years in the future, 15 years in the future, this is what we see. This is what we want to see, right? But it's super important because it really is, if you think of it like a concentric or like nesting dolls or something, it's like the vision statement is really that thing that everything else is supposed to point to, right? So when you're coming up with a goal or a future land use map revision or an action item or a policy, they're all supposed to logically point back to something in the vision statement.
Okay.
And so this will be like one of these exercises where we want to be really precise with the wording, right? And it has to mean something and feel sincere, even if it does feel kind of like more, sometimes people are just like, oh, that's like fluffy stuff, you know, but it is important. It's like it's in that highest level framework, I guess, for the ideas we're going to come up with. So I printed out this one from Carrabassett Valley where we're just finishing their plan. You can pass that around. And then this one from Belfast. And so both of these communities had vision statements already. Carrabassett Valley's was like 3 pages long from their plan that was written in 2003 or approved then.
Wow.
It was, in our opinion, too long,
Yeah.
right? It was like this, and their whole plan was kind of like that. It was very narrative. But Belfast, actually, I kind of joined that project maybe in the process when that was getting written. But Belfast, I would say, was more like an exercise like what we're doing, where we had to come up with like they had gone through this, that was Rockland, but they had gone through this similar exercise of coming up with, community input, survey work, all that, to sort of distill out what are those key ideas and words to characterize, like it's a feeling, but you have to be able to see it and people have to be able to buy into it, right? And it has to be somewhat, you're not going to win everybody over, but it has to be pretty collectively agreed upon. Yeah, and so these are really different places too, right? Like Carrabassett Valley is adamant that they are not just like a company town of, the Sugarloaf Corporation or Boyne Resorts, but that's a big presence there. But their thing is like, we want, they're also struggling with like, how do we continue to support a year-round community here? But they have year-round recreation and recreation tourism. So there is that opportunity for them. Housing is a big deal. They need more services and amenities to support a year-round population. But they they're like so happy. They love being outside. I'm convinced they're all just constantly exercising. And the endorphins are like, they just like love living there. They love the scenic resources, the natural resources. They love their trails. And so like, those are some of the things that you like here in their vision statement. Belfast loves its like grittier, historic, artsy culture, and they're historically a year-round community, and they really keep it a year-round community, and they're anxious about that.
They're anxious about it?
Yeah, about that changing. Yeah. They love their Main Street. They love their arts community.
And they really brought theirs back. In a lot of ways.
They did a massive economic development investment.
Is that what
they did,
wow, is it a
probably.
place now? Yeah, like year round.
Yeah, and they've had some
went
fortunate
from
things. happen
lobster
too.
boat races to,
Right.
and
They have
what are they?
shipbuilding right on their
Yeah,
water.
they just have
Right.
a lot going on there. Yeah.
Real working waterfront.
And
Yeah.
bank,
Yep.
bank
Built up.
They have an
there.
awesome comp plan.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have really incredible leadership in their.
But you can go there in the
City council.
winter or the summer and it feels not quite the same, but
Yeah,
there's people bustling.
yeah,
around,
it's definitely so. Anyway, so again, there's no like one right way to do this necessarily, but I do think you want to be thinking about like what are those key words that you want to make sure are included in there that capture
Vibrant and year-round.
that. Yeah, so I think part of our exercise tonight is to literally like start writing those things down based on, obviously what we've heard in the survey, what we've heard at the public workshop, and then you are the committee. It's your job to bring your own opinions and also interpret like what you're hearing from the community as well. And then if we had an existing statement, we would be bringing it up on the screen and kind of working through it and being like, does this still ring true? But we don't have that. So it will be an exercise in like writing it from scratch.
Can I see that comp plan? I read this, I thought I had it on my phone, but I thought there was something in there.
There could
But
be.
it's like one sentence at the beginning.
There was a little section in there that like, ooh, here's the vision statement, and it really isn't.
It is,
It like goes right into talking about the structure of
It's sort of like in the introduction.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I actually did a keyword search for vision.
You'd think it'd be labeled, right?
And
Maybe
had an eye
maybe
doctor.
we can each bring one at the next meeting
So I think
and hash them all together.
I have an alternative suggestion, although we're open to ideas, but what we'd like to do tonight is get some keywords from all of you. These are the things that need to be part of a vision statement, in our opinions, based on everything that you've heard and feel and whatever. And then we should probably draft it and then send it to you before the next meeting, and then we'll come back together and talk it through. Does that work?
Yes.
That way we're
Fine,
not
and I think if people want to sort of,
Absolutely.
draft
You can
up, we
hack
can
away.
always, yeah.
Absolutely.
hack away at it as much as you want after that, but the challenge that we're gonna end up getting into is like, could be one of those things where we are just sort of like wordsmithing the thing to death, so we just have to figure that part out together.
One thing that sticks in my mind is just the trails. You can walk anywhere, and I can remember as a little kid, we would walk from Harborside all the way to Jordan Pond House, climb the mountain, and if we survived, we got popovers and tea. But, there's everywhere, and even Pretty Marsh. So we've just explored every little segment because half the time you can't find a place to park to get onto the trails. But there's lots of nooks and crannies that are just so interesting all over the place, especially around Pretty Marsh, that you have to dig around to find them, but they're there. And so that to me is a real asset.
That's great.
Page 2 of the 2009 starts with, the intent of this comprehensive plan is to promote and sustain a diverse year-round community. And, it's got,
Sort of the closest thing it comes to.
exactly.
So those
That was it.
diverse, sustain, say the words again.
To promote and sustain a diverse year-round community by managing change of Mount Desert's principals' resources.
They were going for the one sentence version.
Yeah, they wanted it all done in one.
That's nice though.
Yeah,
I like it.
It could be one sentence, it could be one to 3 paragraphs. I think it's important for vision statements to be very aspirational.
Congratulations again.
Yeah.
What is the state is looking for a vision statement? Does it have any guidelines on? No.
Not really, yeah, because every community, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Every community needs to kind of figure out what makes sense for them.
So your comment was Carabasset Valley went a little too long. 3 paragraphs is.
No,
Originally.
that it was
Oh,
pages.
Oh, it was 3
That's what we
pages.
boiled it down
We
to.
boiled it down
Yeah.
to. So this is an
I
acceptable.
would still,
Oh, yeah,
I think we should be,
that's what it's gonna be.
Okay.
It's almost done.
one sentence might be a little not enough, but like 1 to 3 paragraphs is probably all you need.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because Belfast seems similar format. There's
If they had bigger
well,
font.
I mean,
I don't wanna repeat
there's three
them. Okay,
there's
no,
three
sorry.
paragraphs there basically.
No.
A little spelling.
Yeah, no. Wait, yeah, vibrant.
But don't we want to
Active.
attract and retain
Yeah, yeah.
Attract and
Attract,
retain what?
retain
People?
people,
jobs,
Population,
Businesses.
economy.
yeah,
business, yeah,
economy?
bustling.
I think when I
Town, or-
joined the planning board, William asked me, what do you think about, the town and where you want it to go? And I said something like, we need to move forward, but remember the past.
That's a good.
So that's good enough.
But I also like that because you think about, when we first sat down, we would talk about the fisheries. And there's a lot that's going away, but that is also part of the history. So I also feel like we have to be really careful about how we, zone, that we don't zone the different fisheries out.
So what's an aspirational reframing of what you just said?
Just that I liked what Alan has
Piggyback on that, yeah.
I like what Kathy said too. What was in our statement
Yeah.
is good.
I like the history. Remember what? Yeah, history.
Move forward, remember,
That's nice.
the connection, I guess.
Remember.
It's really the connection between
The two.
the two.
And how about the concept of being welcoming to newcomers, to new businesses, to new people? Because there's always that from away. Do we want visitors or not?
We don't have a choice.
Businesses, well, yeah, they come, but
I've-
they also support the economy. So
Well, right, yeah, we kind of need some, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the economy is a big
Yeah.
pillar of this, and like
Yeah.
fostering a economic opportunity so that people here can be innovative, or people from away can choose to move here to be innovative.
be part of that. Yeah.
Because right now, nobody looks at our real estate and says, "I'm going to start a business and grow it." It's like, well, where are you going to
That's
grow?
why it is, right? That's why those lots have been empty for 10 years.
A lot of they kind of were here first in a lot of ways, and they do employ a lot of people, or I should say, quite a few people.
Their ripple is very big.
It is very big.
Wabanabis.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So how do we capture that sentiment in a
Without
vision
taking
statement?
people off, well, that's
Well, I think what you're
Yeah.
suggesting
I mean,
is like acknowledging the
that they're-
important
yeah.
place and role that they play, and that I could be putting words in your mouth. But
no,
that-
no. But I mean, they were here.
Right, but that the idea is that in the future you imagine there being a collaboration, a continued, maybe improved. I don't know.
Yes,
I'm not going
continue-
to,
yeah.
Qualify it necessarily, but like that there is that still
Yes,
collaboration.
How about finding
Yeah.
a balance?
a balance. Yeah, yeah,
Summer and year round.
yeah.
Well, because for the summer people,
Mhm.
it's changed dramatically.
For them also.
How-
Yes, yeah.
How long they're here,
Yep. Yeah.
how long their kids are here. It's
Yeah.
very, very
Very
different
Yeah.
than the way my children were raised.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
no one comes in June and stays until September because schools start in
Yeah.
August.
But then again, there's a lot of people starting to retire that are here June all the way now till 1st of October. There is a
180 days.
growing population in with summer people in that way. So it's kind of a mix,
They
yeah.
want to pay their
But
taxes.
that's an
when they're out.
usually an older population, maybe not as many young, but
Age is an interesting thing. So
Yeah.
having a broad spectrum of ages in town, as the oldest state, the oldest county,
right,
the oldest
yeah.
town, just
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
So would you say that part of this statement or vision in the future is that there's a younger population?
Yeah, you need kids in school.
You need kids in school,
Okay.
yeah.
A better balance of ages?
So do these have to be topics that we can actually act on in the comprehensive plan?
I mean, the goals and policies that you come up with should logically point towards this vision, right? So just to like draw those or connect those dots together, like let's take the ages one. So if the idea is that you need younger families and more children, and like what do younger families need in order to either stay or locate here?
Affordable housing.
Right.
In good schools.
In good
Right.
schools.
Incentive.
Right. Yeah. And then
I think
so,
we got the good school. I think that is a big thing for the we do have a
Because that's
good
what, that's,
school.
we moved
And
all over the
library,
country and we looked at schools and accessibility for our kids. Can they get to school? Do they ride their bikes? Are we gonna have to drive them? How does that work? So,
does it continue to work? You know what I mean? Does it continue to be a good school
yeah,
in the future?
Well, that's the big question, right?
That's a whole nother thing
No.
going on the island. Yeah,
But that's what you
consolidation.
want.
Yeah,
We're
Yeah.
talking about,
Aspirational.
this is
right.
What
what we
needs
want.
to happen
Yeah.
to make sure it continues
Or
to be that?
continued good
Yeah.
schools and education.
Yeah, so my previous question was, do we want to say something about the culture? Because we can't affect that, but we could want it. We should want a culture of,
100%.
okay,
Yeah.
we can throw that in there
Oh,
and
yeah.
say, you know, because community gathering places, that came up a lot. And
That's why the neighborhood house is also such a gem for
yeah, and supporting,
amazing.
like people
Yeah.
want younger people here, but they don't want to sell their house below market value.
Well,
Right.
That's
Not at all.
You
yeah.
can't change that culture. You can't be like, why don't you take a couple $100,000 hit and sell it to a local family?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, somebody do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know a few people that have done
I've done
that.
That's happened.
It's
What is the culture though? Let's unpack that
Yeah.
a little bit more. So when we did the village planning workshops, we heard like, what do you love about the town of Mount Desert? And people would be like, well, we're not Bar Harbor. But I mean,
That was the overriding theme,
Yeah.
all the villages.
but a lot of what we hear in the survey is that like people know each other.
Yeah.
People value the quiet, you know, or value the feeling of a small town. So what is that? And is that something that is still desired or imagined in the future?
right. It's small town. It's trust. It's
Neighborhood.
neighborhoods.
Safe.
Trips, safe.
Those things, those words all did come up in those post-its.
Okay. I love when you're talking about exploring.
The other thing, think about the nursery school when they, like for Halloween, and they all paraded around the village. And they did, I mean, there were, and see the kids coming up, I would see them carrying their skates, talking to each other and laughing. I said, this is what's perfect.
It's Mayberry.
Yes,
Yeah.
very.
My husband and I call it Arctic Mayberry because he's from North Carolina originally.
Arctic Mayberry?
Yeah.
But there's so many those are the opportunities that, and I think parents, that's what they want. I've talked to people who, two doctors, that they came here, they were fantastically lucky to get rentals, but not here in Northeast. But their daughter said, I don't ever want you to move away. I love my school, I love my teachers, and I love my friends. And he said, who could ask for anything better? I said, you're right.
We used to be in the thick of it. Library was a huge, when our kids were little. Library, nursery school.
Yeah, so those are really important sort of civic public amenities, institutions that
Need to be
are-
supported.
Yes, they need to be supported.
Is there a way that
Support
economically
local
there can be some kind of support from the town?
We do that.
I think we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do
Well,
third
definitely
party
Neighborhood house and the nursery school, yeah, the warrant.
and the select board.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all vote on it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to question, again, what you do and don't do right now. It's, the comment was support important
Those
civic
play a big
institutions. That's a
role.
vision, that's an aspirational comment. What else? Anything else? A lot of good words.
I'm going to be fascinated by the statement that's drafted at all these points.
Well, so I heard Stephanie say bustling,
Yeah.
but then and people are talking about more year-round economy, right? So I feel like there's a where component to that, which doesn't go into the vision statement per se, but it's like a balance of like having places to find that bustle, but then also places where it does very much does not exist, right? Okay.
That's village or rural. I wonder if we should address anything about the natural environment around us and maintaining that.
How do you envision it in 10, 15 years?
Yeah, that we try to keep as many trees and streams and natural habitats for animals as possible. Because that's,
Trails that
Even the Town Hill Bear?
yeah.
Clean water.
Yeah.
They got my bird feeder.
Oh, did they? A bear did.
Yeah.
Is there any undeveloped property? I mean, there's some kind of in between Sonesville and Eagle Lake
The
Road.
town owns
Over there on Beach
Tons-
Hill Road,
tons
there's a
of
ton of
property.
land there.
Okay,
Yeah.
all along Beach Hill Road is town property.
okay. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's town property? Is that what?
Town property. There's town property all over the place.
Is there now?
Looking.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, we have a map of that.
Yep, we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
At the start of that.
Yeah.
All right,
Go all the way up. You press
Suzanne, do you
all
think
the way
that's
up.
enough for,
I think that's great. Is there anything, I like how Vince was like, what else, is the plan gonna talk about that we should consider?
Yes.
So we talked about history, you talked a little bit about the natural environment, economy, housing, civic institutions and public facilities, the sort of bigger cultural stuff.
culture of community?
Yeah,
You know, what we haven't talked about is sort of the medical facilities. You know, having the nursing association here and having the clinic running is fabulous.
age idea too, like,
Oh, yes.
the idea
Or
of
under the
being able to
neighborhood
age.
house.
and
So would the institutions include, medical,
Institution.
and housing.
Nurses Association.
yeah, and libraries.
that idea of maybe like making sure it serves all ages.
Now, how will this work? Are you guys gonna put all of this together to,
Yeah, we're gonna
you don't want us to do any kind of,
I mean, you are welcome to, but like we because there isn't an existing one, we thought we would take a stab at writing something based on what we heard, and then we would all kind of workshop it together to have a starting point. If you are a highly inspired and motivated committee member and you want to write your own, that is fine too. I think if we all wrote our own, it would be really hard and time consuming to like figure out how to put it together, but we're not gonna say.
Yeah, I think it would be more efficient to have you all think about, okay, this is sort of what I'm stewing on for a vision statement, but let us draft one and then interject your thoughts into that. And again, whatever we draft isn't like, we can tear it up and start over again.
It's a starting place.
Sometimes I find it's really helpful just to have something on paper that you can be like, that captures everything that we just talked about, or that is not at all reflective of that, or if we just did this and this, and we can wordsmith it a little bit together. But I do think it would be very cumbersome to try to have everybody just write your own vision statement, and then we have to figure out how to make it all work.
you're just feeling guilty, like you're letting us off too easy. I don't know.
I think we have plenty that'll happen later.
We're trying to be like efficiently moving through this
Yes.
process as well. So,
Great.
yeah, but that other process could turn into,
A nightmare.
Yeah,
a very long.
very
Yeah,
true.
we definitely don't want to spend like 3 committee meetings on it, even though it is a very important part of the
Yeah.
plan. And it can be like, tweaked and adjusted too
Yep.
as we go.
As with everything, we're not putting things out there that have to be accepted either. Like, you need to tell us that this is not at all what we want, but like our job is to just throw stuff out at you, and your job is to tell us whether or not we captured it.
Well, I like that idea because it does give us a place to start the dialogue.
Yep.
But I also I think some of our discussion will be around kind of the tenor, the tone of it. I mean, Carrabassett and Belfast have two very different
Yep.
ways of talking about their community. So,
You need to tell us.
yeah,
We need to make a different tone.
yeah.
But it, again, it should be short enough that people remember it. It's not a novel about the history of Mount Desert. That's why therefore the 1 to 3 paragraphs. And, it should capture the things that you're hearing from the rest of the community, and be aspirational. Like, the hard part now for us is a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about are aspirational. Like, we're going to be talking about, from this point, we're going to be moving into talking about goals. And goals are aspirational too. So they're not problem statements, they're goal statements. We know what the problems are. Now we're trying to figure out where we want to go. And then we're going to be getting into, here's what we want to do to try to achieve our goal. So that, I think, is a challenge, because it's very easy to be like, oh my God,
You have a lot of problem solvers.
Well, Belfast feels theirs feels very, it's what the picture is almost. Downtown, Cedars, whereas Mount Desert is so much more spread out and.
Yeah, be like, you could even get online and read 100 vision statements if you want to get a feel for it. And we just put these together to show you, like, these are two kind of
Very
different vision statements that are sort of like just what a vision statement could look like. But Mount Desert's vision statement is going to be its own vision statement, not a copy of, either of these.
And I will say, like, with this community, they are very actively thinking about how do we market this place, right? And that's part of their economy, right? And so they're marketing it to new businesses, they're marketing it to new community members that they want to, like, come and live there. But they talk about promotion of the town in a certain way. And I mean, it's so closely tied, obviously, to the ski mountain and the cross country skiing and the AT and all that. But, like, that's a big part of, like, the tone, right? Yeah.
I think most people don't want to promote our town.
I was thinking that same thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Well,
Keep Mount Desert exclusive.
That's why we've got the problems we have.
Yeah, I think that's one of the issues we're now
But,
having.
like, I'm not
It's too
suggesting
exclusive.
it be like that.
Right,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, that's part of a big part of, like, what the energy they are bringing to it.
It's more that we need to sell the future. We have to have an enticing.
Create a picture.
Yes.
Carrabassett Valley is creating an identity that's tied to their full season recreational and outdoors and whatever other cultural things that they're bringing to the table. You are doing the same thing, but in different words. It's not about those things, but it's this is what we envision our community being in the long term. We are thinking in 10 or 15 year increments for certain things, but, like, this is our vision of the town of Mount Desert. And it, it is important to get it, to think about it, because you can envision a vision statement that is very different. In one tone could be very much like, yep, we envision the town of Mount Desert being, and I've said this before, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but a seasonal short-term rental community and, catering to summer tourism.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That is not at all what we wrote down, but
Right.
if that were the
But
vision,
It's sort of a place
that's,
to, like,
that's the town's vision, and you have
put it
then-
out there.
and then you're
Yeah.
going to think about your goals to help you achieve that vision, and they're different goals than if you come up with all of the things that you just talked about. Like year-round community opportunities and
A thriving
aspirational
school.
thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, like, you gotta, like, I put that into that context because it is that important. And I know it is hard for some people to be like, think about the positivity spin of it, but this is what you want your town to be. So it's an important part of the plan. And it probably needs to be a little more than one sentence, but probably not, 6 pages.
No.
Yeah.
Does that help? Does that make sense? It feels a little bit hard to describe. Yeah. Because, like, Vince was asking, like, what are the criteria that the state gives you? And it's like, it's not,
A vision.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think in that way, it's kind of good that it's a little bit flexible.
But it does set, I mean, if you visualize now about a comprehensive plan, like this is the thing that wraps it together.
Yep.
And then other things that happen underneath that are part of it. So you start to get a real feel for, okay, I see where, the organizational structure of a comp plan comes into play.
No, I'm sure you know about this, but you know that years ago, the town, the Ad hoc Economic Development Committee invited the Urban Land Institute in like 2012. And I wonder if there's any value in this committee being familiar with that, looking at their recommendations, et cetera.
Yeah, I think.
Was
Because
that a Northeast Harbor Main Street study though?
Yeah.
Well, Northeast Harbor, not necessarily Main Street. I mean, one of the key things that came out of that was you've got to find ways to connect Main Street with the harbor, with the marina.
Right.
One thing I will say, this brings it up, so I'm going to answer the question is, sure, we can add that to the comp plan documents and everybody can read it. And when we start talking about, future land use, that might be that's a useful tool, number one. And number two, one of the other comments that I thought was really interesting from the public meetings that kind of filtered through was like equal investment in other villages, not just Northeast Harbor. And so I think that, it is something that we've talked about a lot. And when we were going around doing our village
Put it
meetings,
on the board.
that I think was, yeah.
It's not just Northeast Harbor.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my only hesitation. It's,
Is that it just focuses
probably
on
that.
this, right?
I will stuff in there that is applicable beyond that subset.
6, 8 villages, whatever people are.
You have to remember, Sound Village, our thing, they want to have the signs and they want to control the traffic.
Yeah, well,
Toll booth.
Yeah.
I have somebody that,
Island, but we don't have.
I have somebody that, my neighbor, that's what he would want to do.
collect a toll.
Should we move on
Yeah.
to schedule the January
Probably
meeting
make a
and
lot of money, but
2026
yikes.
outlook?
Yep. All right.
So is the,
Skirt?
So let's move on. The next thing we were going to talk about is look ahead 2026. And so while we're thinking about that a little bit, the January meeting is, I think,
It's the first,
Thursday is
yeah.
the first. So we need to,
The 8th would be
Hold on.
nice.
just move it to the 8th?
I don't know.
The 8th is the next Thursday.
Look at my calendar.
There's a community cafe that day.
Sweet.
Good.
This is the first,
Well, it's actually the second day. The first is the first.
will there really be one that day then?
No, I have it on there as,
Yep.
Yeah.
The 8th works for
oh, you know what?
us.
It might be that we're sponsoring at that time. Is it the?
Yeah.
8th? That's
The
good.
8th,
Is that
January.
the first? Yeah.
Does January 8th work for everybody?
I don't know if there's any other, I don't think there's.
As
Well,
of
I
right
might
now.
actually get my
Okay.
at my desk.
Did January 8th work for you?
Yes.
So we're doing 5 o'clock on the 8th.
Yep, let's do it.
We can confirm with the town
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. Not so as not to put you on the spot.
It's just my phone is fighting me.
What's that?
Nothing, my phone is fighting me on it. It's awesome.
All right, well, let's pencil in the 8th.
Yep.
Great. All right, and so now, moving forward, just again, because we always have to follow the bouncing ball on where we are in the process, so that people, so we all understand where we're going. We've spent a bunch of time updating all the data. People hopefully have read the data, and if you have some assignments that you're supposed to read over your section of the plan and give us some comments. Some people have, some people haven't, but we still have a little time to polish that up.
Yep.
So that's sort of ongoing. Now we're going to be, then we've had this sort of transitional public meeting time. We're going to spend the January meeting working on the vision statement, and we're going to start jumping into what we'll call the policy discussions. So that is going to be basically January, February, March, April, May, June, with the goal, I think, of trying to have most of that, if not all of that, wrapped up by the end of the winter, so that we can engage with the public again in the summertime, when we can really have conversations with the summer residents that are here and everybody more fully. And it happens to coincide with times where we probably don't want to meet as much as we might. And I do think Right now, we have monthly meetings. I don't think that we need to have every other week meetings yet, but there will be topics where we will want to have every other week meetings. And I preface all that by saying every other week meetings sound like a great idea when you're just trying to rush through things, but there's a bunch of stuff that has to happen between each every other week. And in my experience, sometimes that work doesn't and can't happen. So we need to just be mindful, if we could, of let's plan for the once a month meeting. We'll have a topic that we might want to do every other month meetings. Does that structure seem okay?
It could be nice if we could try to get this done for the following year warrant.
We're trying to get it done for the 27 town meeting. And the only way to do that is by finishing this work by the end of this winter into the early spring, and then doing some public engagement, and then getting the draft off to the state sort of end of the summer, and then having a warrant or having the plan ready by January of next year. So a year from basically now, we'll be done.
Wow.
That's the only way to do it, because we have a lot to do now. Then we have to do some more engagement, and then there's some time that the state has to.
Yes, that's what so we would have to, never mind.
So I don't think we have to meet every month. I don't think we're going to be able to meet more than once a month all the time. I do think there will be times where we will have to meet more than once a month. And the benefit of this is that we can kind of front load the multiple meeting months in the time where we're more able to have those meetings.
Yeah.
So I know you don't want us to all bring vision statements. I'm definitely going to write one because it helps me.
Great.
Like once you start writing stuff down, it just gives
Process.
you clarity, right? You're like, wow, that's not how to write that. And you do it again, right?
Or, that was great.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Should that be something that we do going forward on goals? Like, as homework, is it better that we spend time
Let's talk about that.
doing that and
Can I
January?
finish this conversation first?
Yeah. Let's sort of answer the structure of the conversation a little bit, and then we're going to jump into like how we're going to break out
Okay.
meetings a little bit, I think.
Okay.
So the goal statements, like the idea that we're going to be getting into is that we're doing an update to the plan too. We have to keep that in mind. So there's also a lot of good work that's already been done. And we don't want to lose that work. So there's a pretty methodical way that we're going to have to go through each thing. And Suzanne's pulling it up on the screen. We've already gone through the effort of like taking out each topic area from this comprehensive plan and putting like the goal and then the table underneath it of all the strategies and objectives.
Sorry, it's like really small.
Yep.
Yeah, so the idea is like we're not starting from scratch, and the best thing to do is revisit what is existing right now and think about, does this still make sense? Does it need to be reworded? Is it still relevant? We don't typically write the plans that we write in this exact like format, but this is the content that we would be starting with to revise. That's kind of how we would approach it, Vince, and we can talk about like how, what the difference is between a goal language is really aspirational, like the goal in this case would be a year-round economy and a quality of life for all of them. And the policy statement or objective below is usually measurable. So it's like increase, decrease, expand, contract, things like that. And then the actions are like create a, task force to collect information on blah, blah, blah. If that makes sense, sort of the hierarchy of like the goal, policy, action. So this is what we would start with for each topic, and we would, what we've done in the past that's worked well is like leading up to the meeting, we would send it out to you guys and say like, read this over, come prepared with your thoughts. It could be a matter of rewriting it or not. And then we would essentially talk about it in the meeting, make notes, make comments on it, and then we bring it back to the office and we clean it up based on what the feedback is that you provide. I can show you like the example of the like this was the economy one in Carabasset Valley. So in this meeting, the committee had looked at it in advance and then came with all of their comments and ideas. And I basically was, typing in everything they had to say. We're doing some actual like wordsmithing and then, making notes here, and then the final version of it. And these are all the actions from the existing plan, and so many of their economy actions and goals are also recreation actions and goals, and some of them are transportation. And then there's the state suggested ones too. So the state also provides recommended goals and action items. So we would like sort of provide you that every meeting in advance, and then we would come and sort of like work through it. That's where we would come up with like, what do you want to keep? What do you want to change? What needs to be added or removed?
That would be the time where you would say, hey, I'm thinking about this and I think we should add a goal under economy, something like this. And then we could have a discussion about that.
Okay.
Take it easy with the premier recreation destination
Do
in
you
the
really
state
want to
of
be the
Maine.
premier one?
I was gonna say, I think that ought to be ours, not but no, yeah.
Well, we need to
But
stay
yeah.
mountain.
And I would say in the current plan, so you might not, we probably won't get into this too much, although I will say like the goal statements are not quite the way that the current plan has them written, and we may talk about like, hey, maybe we want to make this a goal statement, and then what a goal, objective, action. Like there's like a structure to it, and not to keep harping on it, but like it's important to try to get that right.
And this isn't 100% always the case, but we oftentimes think about like the actions are like oftentimes can form the work plan of a certain committee, a certain department within the town, so on and so forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of places that's like, oh, I see. If we're talking to the town manager, like, hey, here's some things that we need to, be on.
Yeah.
On the agenda for certain things.
All of the actions will also have like a recommended time frame, which you decide like what does short term mean to you, what does medium term mean, long term, and then the suggested responsibility. And you can't assign it all to Alex. That's what they're doing in Care.
And it shouldn't all be planning board either, because
Yeah.
I think in the current plan,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff is just planning board, and that's
So you have to be really thoughtful about like who's really the right, group of committees or whatever it is to tackle this. And sometimes, like when we were writing Belfast, they actually were deciding during that time to create a new task force or committee around housing that they didn't have. So we had to go back in the plan and like reassign a lot of these great ideas to this like information committee. Yeah.
Good, gave them something to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Could a separate entity, I'm thinking like the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, yeah.
Would you ever suggest that they're the right entity to carry forward some goal, some objective on the economy?
There should be like a conversation with them. They should be like brought in as part of that and say, hey, we're talking about this topic and we, would love your input on this, or, is this, I think that's a pragmatic way to approach it.
At the state level, what department is it that you send this to?
Well,
And who are those
there's a
people?
new organization. Yeah. Tom Miraglio.
Those are
No.
2 or 3 people.
Yeah. It used to be the state planning office, and then I think LePage got rid of that, and then now they have the municipal planning assistance program, and there's staff there. But there's a big sort of reorganization happening at the state level. There's a new, I don't even know if you call it a department, called MOCA, Maine Office of Community Affairs, and so some of those people are going to go under that umbrella, but. Yeah, there's a group of people who their entire job is to review comprehensive plans.
And
Do we ever engage with the Hancock County Planning Office?
We talk to them like every week, just
About different town plans?
Yeah,
Do they get to weigh in, or would they be helpful? And
they don't. I wouldn't say
it's not the kind of thing they do. Okay.
we may engage with them on the regional coordination
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much it
Yeah,
for this plan.
Yeah.
So structurally,
Mhm.
does that make sense?
But the other thing we forgot to mention is, like, another big part of this plan is revisiting, revising the future land use plan. And so we think it strategically makes sense and is efficient to essentially have that up, like printed out as a map, the existing, land use plan or future land use plan from the existing plan, and talk about, as we're creating goals and creating action items and these strategies, like the where component, right? So it's like, is there something on this map that needs to change in order to meet this goal? Thinking about it that way, because one of the things the state wants to see is a future land use plan and growth areas, which you have now in your plan. But the question is, like, do these need to change? And if so, how? And things like that.
Yeah.
So we would sort of like have that side by side with the flip chart, essentially.
Yeah, everybody should become very familiar with the future land use plan, and also with new legislation, the growth areas are really important. So they have connotations. for what
So you're
what
going to
you have
share
allow
the
density
new
wise.
legislative.
When we get into the right topic, yes, we will.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll have that up and we'll be able to talk it all through.
Mm-hmm.
So, given that this is an update, one of the principles that we had started off with is that we don't need to spend tons of time on certain topic areas, whereas we may want to spend a lot more time on other topic areas. And I think one of the questions we had is just to confirm one of the two or three most important topic areas that we've been wrestling with so far are really housing and economy. I don't know if there's a third one, but the other ones sort of trickle in there somewhere. And our suggestion is that we pick one of those to start with. And so next month we're going to be talking about the vision statement. Then maybe we'll do a little 101 on here's the future land use plan, just so we're all familiar with it without spending a ton of time like diving into it. And then let's hit which one of those topics do you guys want to start with is really the question. And then we'll just start to filter in the other ones, because I think some meetings we'll be able to do a couple topic areas. Maybe like we're gonna do history and recreation in one meeting, because we're just gonna look at the stuff and everything will be good, and we've got a couple of new goals and here's our thing. But for the other ones, we might want to spend more time on, so we'll kind of flip flop. We'll talk about it one meeting and then we'll get back to it at another meeting, that kind of thing. But we have to like be efficiently working through in order to meet our timelines. So where do we want to start?
What topic is calling you?
Between those two.
Between any
Gotta
of
pick
them.
one. Yeah, I mean, you can pick it. You could say, you know what, we'd rather start on
Natural
public facilities.
resources, yeah.
We can gladly dive right
Housing is
into public
the
facilities.
elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Though I'd say economy may be
I was trying to figure that out.
below housing. Like if you don't have an economy, there's no reason to have
Right.
houses.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't have houses, you're not going to have an economy.
Economy.
Right.
So, but I guess what's the linchpin? If we have zoning issues that prohibit businesses, or we have regulations that prohibit businesses, that's something to take care of first. You can always build houses in commercial zones, but you can't have businesses in residential zones. So for me, economy looks like maybe something to get into, and we can practice, because we want to get housing right.
Oh.
Right.
You want to get it all right. We're getting it all right.
What's anybody else thoughts? Doesn't really matter. We got to get into it.
Do you want to
anyway.
like start with a biggie first, or do you want to start with a?
With a few successes.
I don't know.
No, I feel like we should start with the biggie. I mean, it's gonna help drive our
Yeah,
dialogue throughout
I
and the way we work
I feel
together
like
too.
when we were talking about this, it feels like there's a lot of been from the start of this project. Like everyone's got good energy to like dive in and dig into the big stuff.
The reason I like the big ones first is that if we have to make up time later, the other ones, not to shortchange them, but might be a little bit easier. Whereas if you start with some easier ones, and then it starts to lag out a little bit, then you're
Yeah.
scrambling to actually deal with the things that are most important to the community. So,
This is, I think, like one of the most exciting parts of this process, and I think it'll be really interesting. But we also have to be like really mindful of our own sort of like fatigue around, right? Because there's so many topics to go through. So as we're doing this, we have to always remind ourselves to be like efficient and not run out of steam, because you don't want to shortchange the stuff at the end.
right.
We could have an outline and go through it. Page by page, whatever.
Yep, that's what
Yeah.
we're gonna do.
Stay on track.
Yeah.
And
Try to give a time limit for each one. I know that's not easy,
For sure.
but none of this is easy.
Yep. And I also, again, we'll continue to challenge you to identify, we're talking about solutions now more than problems. So when we're talking about ideas, like the ideas aren't bad ideas, they're all ideas, right?
Vision.
So we just need to figure out that path. Awesome. What else?
So-
We're going to go over more than just that, Suzanne? Or
What
that was
do we
pretty-
want to start like laying out the order of in which we want to go in, or do we want to just sort of take the first couple and see?
I think we'll do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Start with economy,
Sure.
go there.
That's the consensus of the group.
Sure.
All right. I don't think we ever dealt with this at the very beginning, but at a certain point, if you feel it makes sense for us, we can also regroup and come up with some, ground rules by which we make decisions. But I don't think we're quite there yet.
Right.
I have had to do that in the
Put the
past.
swords on the table.
Here's what it is. This is how we're going to do
No
this.
punching, kicking, biting.
Wow, yep, gets feisty.
It
The
could.
police have been in this meeting room before.
Yes, they have, yes, that's true.
That's
But
true. Oh,
Hopefully
boy.
not for us.
Good.
Was it first?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's the last.
Anything else you wanted to go over?
Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna do my homework.
Yeah. That's okay.
Suzanne, did I send you mine?
Yes.
I did, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
I have homework and I haven't done it yet. I'm just looking today.
Any public comment after listening to us?
Yeah, Alex.
Just thank you. It's, I'm still pretty deep in the weeds, starting off, do some staffing stuff, so just good to get a chance for us to listen in a little bit as we move forward.
Great, thank you.
All right.
Right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Kathy, how did you guys do
All in
last night,
favor?
or how long did it take you?
Thanks.
All in favor? Aye.
15 minutes and it's done.
27.
Nice.
So there's a little housing update is we had our last